Welcome to a world where strength meets struggle, and every move tells a story. This is Cobra Kai, a series where battles are fought not just with fists, but with heart, ego, and redemption. But who are the faces behind the fight? How old were they when it started? And where are they now? Let's dive into the cast, then and now, and uncover the hidden power behind each character. Daniel LaRusso, car dealership owner by day, martial arts mentor by heart. Behind the character is Ralph Macchio, who was 56 in season 1 and is now 63. With his poised demeanor and crisp moves, he proves that age is just a number. Fun fact, he actually loves vintage cars off-screen too, just like in the show. Johnny Lawrence, the anti-hero turned fan favorite. Played by William Zabka, now 59. Johnny's arc is a storm of regrets, hope, and heavy metal. Zabka brings raw energy, sarcasm, and hidden depth to every scene. In real life, he writes music and crafts character dialogue, making him a creative force behind the screen. Miguel Diaz, the heart and soul of the dojo. Played by Xolo Maridueña, who was only 17 when the series began and is now 23. Xolo brings authenticity and raw emotion to Miguel's journey, from bullied teen to fighting champion. Offset, he's into tabletop games, voice acting, and even learning Japanese. Samantha LaRusso, fierce, flawed, and deeply human. Mary Mouser, 29, plays her with grace and grit. A powerful on-screen presence, Mary is also an advocate for chronic illness awareness and empowers young women through her platform. Robby Keene, torn between two worlds, played by Tanner Buchanan, now 26. With brooding eyes and deadly kicks, Robby became one of the show's most complex characters. Off-screen, Tanner plays guitar and dedicates hours to mastering every stunt himself. Tory Nichols, wild, untamed energy with a cause. Peyton List, now 27, portrays her with fire. She's intense in the ring and unstoppable in life, often using her voice to speak against bullying and promote female empowerment. Eli Hawk Moskowitz, a shy kid turned mohawked warrior. Jacob Bertrand, 25, delivers one of the most dramatic transformations in the series. He's a comic book geek, a short film director, and a rising action star with an unpredictable edge. Kenny Payne, the new blood. Dallas Dupree Young, just 19, breathes youth and raw emotion into the series. From bullied gamer to agile fighter, his arc shocked fans and added real-world stakes to dojo rivalries. Anthony LaRusso, once the comic relief, now a player in the fight. Griffin Santopietro, also 19, brings subtlety and growth to the character. A future star in the making, Griffin is already working on scripts and exploring directing. Chozen, Cold Eyes, Deadly Hands. Yuji Okumoto, 66, owns every scene he's in with quiet intensity. Off-screen, he runs a Hawaiian restaurant and still trains daily to keep his warrior spirit sharp. Carmen Diaz, warmth, wisdom, and the moral compass of the show. Vanessa Rubio, 41, brings heart to every scene. She's an advocate for Latinx voices and speaks at universities about cultural representation in Hollywood. Now pause and ask yourself, why does Cobra Kai feel so real? Because it doesn't just show fights, it shows what's worth fighting for. Pride, redemption, identity, family. Each season raises the stakes, not just in battle, but in emotion. There are no villains, only people, choices, consequences. Even the dojo itself becomes a symbol, not of violence, but of transformation. The mat becomes a mirror, the punch becomes a decision, and every episode leaves a mark on the characters and the viewers. So what makes Cobra Kai different? It doesn't chase drama, it builds it. It doesn't just punch, it makes you feel the impact. It keeps you watching, rewatching, pausing, clenching your fists, holding your breath, and that's why the fandom isn't just alive. It's loyal, global, and growing. Millions have found inspiration in its sweat, tears, and kicks. So which character reflects you? Are you the comeback king like Gianni? The calm strategist like Daniel? The rising star like Miguel? Or the silent force like Chozen? Let us know in the comments. Smash the like, subscribe to CelebShift, and stay tuned for more behind-the-scenes legends, shocking facts, and character transformations from the shows and stars you love. Because this isn't just a series, it's a state of mind. Cobra Kai never dies.